Hey everybody, this video is on the guillotine choke. The guillotine is probably one of the most common submissions attacked in jiu-jitsu and MMA, and it's really important to know how to respond when you get put into a guillotine because it can come on quickly and strongly, and it can get the tap in seconds. As you see here, Gavin jumped a guillotine from standing on Monir, and Monir was just a little late with his response. You can see he almost kind of froze for a second, and Gavin was able to get the tap. Compare that to Gavin's guillotine attempt against Patrick. A few very important things that Patrick is doing well in his defense here. He's driving into the choke. He's using his left arm to cross-face Gavin and drive in. And he's avoiding the closed guard. He doesn't want to get tied up with Gavin's legs. See how he's moving around the half guard here? He still has the cross-face. This is going to make it really difficult for Gavin to finish the guillotine. See how Patrick's left arm is in place. Gavin does the right thing to fight and get back to closed guard. But see how Patrick's hips are high in the air? That means he's driving in. It's going to take a little bit of heat off the choke, hopefully enough that he doesn't have to tap, which it seems to be doing. And that, combined with the cross face, Patrick also with his right hand is grabbing Gavin's forearm or wrist. That also takes a little pressure off the choke. See him throwing the arm over the shoulder again. Gavin uses the guillotine to sweep. Let's watch a couple successful guillotines and see if we can notice some trends. So in this match, we have Dave taking on Brad. We're going to see Brad shoot in, look to get a single leg, and Dave immediately attacks the neck. Now, he's got it on nice and tight, and he gets the tap. But you can see Brad, similar to Monir, froze. And it can happen when you're in a guillotine if you don't know the correct thing to do. So as he gets the leg, Dave's fine with it. He attacks the neck and goes to the bottom position. Brad should have got up on his toes, drove in, and threw his left arm around Dave's back. So he had a cross face, and then with his right hand, he should be grabbing the guillotine. Here's Dave again working a guillotine on Darlin. He goes from mount. You're going to see him move off a mount and transition to a front headlock. And now in front headlock, you often will have an opportunity to go for a guillotine. See him change the angle, get a hold of the neck here, fall back, and now he's got it locked up and gets the tap. Again, Darlin was a little bit late with his response. He should be driving in, getting those hips up nice and high. It should be his right arm in this situation that's going over top of Dave's shoulder and grabbing his back. But again, like I said, if you freeze, it can really hurt you. Let's look at another one. This one is Matt and CJ. Matt's in half guard attempting a sweep. He comes up, CJ gets a hold of the neck. Now look, Matt obviously realizes he's in a guillotine, but again, look at the response. He needs to get his hips up higher, throw that arm over the shoulder. Freezing in a submission is very, very common if you don't know the first step to a defense, right? And I don't know if people are going over a lot of guillotine defense in their classes. I'm not sure. So it's something that we just all collectively have to realize, oh, okay, the guillotine's on. That means I have to drive in, get up on my toes, lift my hips higher than my head, reach for that cross face, and also you can look up towards the ceiling. He wants to crunch your chin to your chest here. Matt got up onto his feet, but his feet were far too far back. He needs to bring those feet in nice and close and really get on his toes. His legs were too stretched out, and that allowed CJ to roll him over into mount. Now, they kept on going, but if the submission's locked, the submission's locked. It doesn't really matter if you're on top or bottom, and he was able to get the choke. And we got CJ again. This time he's on the receiving end of a guillotine. He shoots in. Chris Chatham gets a hold of the neck. And now CJ initially looks like he has the right response. Chris locks up the guard, but you can see he's not doing anything with his left hand. He should be grabbing Chris's wrists with that left hand and looking up. So you can tell that even though he's on his toes, he's got the cross face. It's not enough. You need all these things working in combination, the wrist grab and looking up. He wants to crunch your chin to your chest. You want to do the opposite. It's a strategy I often will use if I don't know what technique or what they're trying to do. Think, what is my opponent trying to do to me? And you can try to do the opposite. What I would tell CJ in this scenario is he has to just get a little bit deeper on the cross face. Would have probably helped him out, and making use of that left hand. You don't want that left hand on the mat or just out anywhere randomly. You got to grab onto his arm and look to pull down. So there's a little bit of counter pull, counter pressure to what he's trying to do. Now let's look at another defense that was successful. We know Dave can finish the guillotine. He's done it twice in this video. He locks it on Dylan, but Dylan's able to survive because he's starting to drive in, and he realizes he has to bring his body to the opposite side of the guillotine. You never want your body and your head on the same side. See how he steps over? Now that throws a little bit of a wrench into Dave's plans. He has forced to come up, ends up back on the bottom, but through the movement there, Dylan was able to get his head out. So that movement can be another option especially when things get sweaty. But you got to be careful because your neck can only take so much. So drive in. He should have looked to thrown an arm over the shoulder and still grab the wrist, but nonetheless, he was able to survive. As the guy is often adjusting the guillotine, that's when you might find space to escape. Just to nail it home, let's just take a look at this defense one more time. Remember, reach over the shoulder, get a crossface. Look to grab the wrist, try to look up. Each one of these things just takes a little bit of heat off that guillotine choke. Try not to get stuck in closed guard. The tighter that you can get on the crossface, the more your partner is going to want to let go of that guillotine. And if you do get locked in guard, like Patrick did here, you need all these things working together. Crossface, grabbing the wrist, looking up, high hips, driving in. It can almost sometimes turn into a choke for the person putting on the guillotine. And a lot of times they'll look to bail and let go. But you should be confident in that you can hold out here, 5-10 seconds. No one has a squeeze that they can squeeze forever. So watch this and be confident in your defense.